Hello, welcome to class 16 of the ArchiCAD 23 online course. In this class, you see element attributes. These elements are lines, fields, composites, and surfaces. Starting by lines, going to ground floor. We have line 2 here in document, line 2, and it is an element just for 2D drawings. Entering on line settings, we have different line types. The pen used in the line. And the possibility to use a symbol. It could be an arrow, a dash, a dot. And you can see just in one of the edges, on both edges, or keep without symbol. Here you could choose the size and the pen of the symbol. I'll keep without symbol, choose the layer, Arc 5 2D drawings, OK. And here we have the geometry method, doing for instance a dashed line. We have many types, like this dashed line, long dashed, small dashed, hidden line. Let's suppose that none of these lines attend me in terms of dash size, spacing between dashes. I could edit, go into options, element attributes, lines. Here I will select the line I want to edit, dashed for example, and here I have the dash size and the gap between dashes. For example, I could increase dash size to 5 and all dashed lines used in my project would be changed. Or I could, if I wanted to keep and change the line, duplicate the line. In lines, I will select dashed. I will come back the previous dash size and click in new, duplicate, type a name, I'll put dashed 1. So here I can change line settings. OK, and go into the list, I'll select the line, go into the list of line types. It appears as the last line before this gray division. So here we have dashed line, dashed 1 that I have created. Therefore, I can use a style created for me. And I could also create a line type totally customized. For example, using a sequence of solid lines. I will draw a zigzag line. And selecting it, I do a Ctrl+C to copy. Go to options, element attributes, lines. I'll click new and choose symbol. I'll type a name. I'll click OK, paste. The option that I have copied appears, and I'll put 0. We have the options of dash and gap. I'll put 0 to gap. And now, in my list, I can see this line type. And including, I could apply this line type to any constructive element. I could change slab outlines to it. So these are the options for lines. Let's erase. And let's talk about fills. We have three types of fill. One is cut fill. I will turn off the reference to show it better. For example, this wall is being cut. It is a reinforced concrete wall. And we've made pen override. For it may have black solid. If I turn off this override, I'll put none. It would show his original material, that is reinforced concrete, on building materials. I'll keep the override. Other fill type is cover fill. This wood deck is using cover fill of plank floor with pens in dark gray and light gray. And we have 2D fills made with fill tool. So here on document we have fill tool. Entering on settings, you can choose among these fill types: drafting fill, cover fill, or cut fill. Here you define the contour line, or without contour line, turning off here. In fill, you have a main pen and a background pen. So changing here, for example, to common brick, I could have dark gray and a light gray as background. You can draw, choosing here the geometry method, and it is a 2D fill. You can use it to correct some imperfection on 2D representation, and in 3D it's not seen. And we can create new fill types. Let's suppose that in this slab, for example, I want a flooring using grid 90 by 90. So here I choose this grid, and I'll put a line, black pen, and here in my list, I'll select the slab again. Here in my list, I don't have a grid 30 by 90. Then going to options, element attributes, fills. I'm gonna use this grid 90 by 90 as base. To duplicate, click in new, choose duplicate, I'll type grid 30 by 90. In spacing, change one of the dimensions. Up here, I can choose which fill type it's going to be used in this option. Okay, and now we have the possibility of changing slab cover fill to grid 30 by 90. And as I showed before, you can set the origin putting cover fill orientation as custom distortion and placing this symbol on the point you want to be the origin. I will return the slab to original settings. And for fill, we also have the option to create a custom fill. I'm going to use circle and line tools to create a pattern. select these elements, Ctrl C to copy, go into Fields, click in New, Symbol Fill, I'll type a name, New Fill. Now click on Paste. We have the options to scale, angle. I will mark to use with cover fills. OK. So here in the slab, I could use this created element as cover fill. I'll put a gray pen, and you can see it applied on my slab. The next elements we'll see are the composites. We can do composite walls, composite slabs. Here, as we are on preliminary design phase, we are using just basic elements, but going to wall settings. You see beside basic structure, this composite structure. And here on ArchiCAD we have some predefined composites. I will select one to model. And you can adjust wall height if necessary to see the wall being cut. Here is not being cut. It's just 70 centimeters height. I'll put 3 meters of height. And in floor plan, this composite is not well adjusted to my pen set, so it's all in black and white. And on 3D, you should turn off override surfaces to see the layers of different materials. So here in model, I need to turn off override surfaces, and now I can see these material layers. So let's create our own compositions. In Options, Element Attributes, Composites, I can add an existing composite or create a new. I will create new, choose the option Duplicate. Now type stone plus masonry 14 centimeters plus timber. I can erase this duplicated composite selecting Material and clicking Remove Skin. So first we have separator lines where we'll put black 101, 0.1. I have the material, I'll choose stone finish. Line pen on fill, I'll put 114, it's hatch 1. And element type can be defined as core, finish, or other. Stone is a finish. And finish thickness is 2 centimeters. To add the new material, click on Insert Skin. Here we'll add mortar to do the transition from core to finish. There isn't mortar on building materials, so I choose generic internal filler. It's gonna be other with 1.5 centimeters. Insert skin again. I'll put masonry block filler with 14 centimeters, and it's going to be the core. Next layer is generic internal filler with 1.5 centimeters, other, and the last layer is going to be a timber fiberboard, and it is a finish with 1 centimeter. Here you see the total thickness, 20 centimeters. Use with, you can mark which tools will be allowed to use this composite. So we have wall, slab, roof, and shell. Okay, I'll put my created composition in the wall. It's all black because it's using override fills. So here I will put none to override cut fill pens. Then you can see the composite wall in floor plan and on 3D. Now we're going to see the possibility of intersections between composite structures. I will model a slab. And use a composition from ArchiCAD. Here I'll put composite structure and use this composition from ArchiCAD. Turn off override surfaces. So here I can see these layers. And here you realize that some materials have priority when intersecting each other. So here the flooring materials stops on the face of the wall finish. Let's check it in options, element attributes, building materials. We can order materials by name or priority. Selecting the material, in this bar, you can define the priority level for material, if it will be weaker or stronger. The stronger material will be always at front. So giving a practical example, going to floor plan, I'll model a wall intersecting this first wall. I will copy parameters to do the same wall type. And even intersecting the reference lines of these walls, you see that finished materials doesn't allow that masonry blocks be united. It is happening because these finished materials are with higher priority than masonry block. Select the wall and go into building materials again. The materials belonging to this composite structure are highlighted. Clicking on priority, we can see the materials listed by priority order. I will select masonry block filler and increase the intersection priority to have this element above stone finish. Click OK, and now you see the correct connection of walls. In the same way, stone has priority above fiberboard, so the stone is passing in front of the fiberboard and over mortar, directed to masonry block. Okay, now we're gonna learn about surfaces. I will erase these elements. And looking on 3D, you see all the materials used as surface materials. They are chosen on Model tab. But in this list, you see that we have a very limited number of materials. Looking, for example, to stones, we have only 3 types of marble and 2 types of granite. So let's see how we can add new textures to be used as surface materials. Go to Options, Element Attributes, Surfaces. I'll choose a stone as a reference, as a base to do a copy, and clicking on New, you have this option, New from Catalog, and here on Linked Libraries, ArchiCAD Library, and we have a lot of materials, brick, ceramic, concrete, and many others. Here I choose, talking about stones again, I'll choose a stone, and there are many stones. I'll choose marble Botticino. Okay, here in Basic Engine is where you can define the texture, and is how it can be seen on 3D window. And Scene Render by Maxon is where we set options for rendering. Click on OK. This material is added to my list and can be used in any constructive element. So here I choose stone, marble Botticino. Of course, I need to change on the beam top. I also could add the new material texture, save it in my computer. I did a download from internet of this material, this granite polarite. To add this material, go to Options, Element Attribute Surfaces. I'll click New, but this time I'll put Duplicate. I'll name it as Stone Granite Polarite. Click OK. On Texture tab, I'll click Browse, Add, and search the file on my computer. Open, click OK, and here we have dimensions. It's important to keep original proportion. I will decrease this texture to be applied. Going to Scene Render by Maxon, you see that the rendering is still with the previous stone. So clicking on Match Settings, update Scene Render settings from Basic. Doing it, the added texture will be applied on this material for rendering. OK. I'll select the slab, and now in the list, you can see this material, granite polarite. So you can choose any texture on the internet and apply on your project. Okay, this was the class about element attributes. Hope you have enjoyed. Until next time, bye bye.